Hello and welcome. We have a full house today. Shomik from the Barabati Stadium, Gargi Atre from Eden, Devashish, Bharat. Basically, all of us for the next 40-45 minutes. We will also be joined by Naman, who is on his way to cover Maya Raja, which is what 6:30 p.m. 1.5 hours from now, where that Maya's game will start. The WTA 125 Mumbai Open. So let me start with Shomik because he has to go to the press conference. Shomik, set it up. Set it up. There is huge demand. You've been at the stadium for the last 2.5 hours. What is going on? Are fans not getting tickets? Complimentary tickets being given more? What is going on? Are there proper seating? Yesterday, a lot of our fans asked us. People asked us that fans have to sit on cement and no chairs available. Exactly, give us the picture.
See, the fact is that this stadium has a capacity of around 45,000. As regards to concrete galleries, it has been like that here at this venue for donkeys years now. Certain sections, only a couple of enclosures have plastic chairs, and those are premium seating areas. I have spoken to Shubroto Behra, the CEO. He said, see, he's trying to give it a tweak as regards to complimentary tickets, saying that even the complimentary tickets we are, I mean, giving to sports association, and from there it is going to public. But the fact of the matter is that only around 15,000 tickets are out there for public sale, and from that point of view, the demand is huge. Even Indian team will start training in about 10 minutes now. 5:15 is the press conference, and one side of the stadium almost full. People have turned up to watch Indian team's training session. So, they are starved of international cricket. This smaller centers are starved of international cricket. Cuttack has been hosting an ODI after a gap of 5 years. An international match after a gap of almost 3 years. So, from that point of view, until and unless, and I have written it, we discussed it in the morning about the sitting arrangements, and I filed the copy. Until and unless there is a renovation of the stadium, um, it will be like that. There would be concrete slabs. People will sit on.
Shomik, why does this happen? I mean, 15,000 tickets or 10,000 tickets for fans, and what you are saying, 30,000 complimentary or 25,000, which are going to associations. Couldn't, obviously one understands that there is compulsion and we can't just live in an ideal world that everything will be given to fans. But why couldn't this ratio be better? Why not at least half or slightly more for fans when the demand is so high? What is the problem? Why is it that you have to give so many complimentary tickets? Because clearly, with complimentary tickets, the state association is not earning money as well. What is the problem that the CEO told you?
Exactly. See, the problem is that even at Eden Gardens, around 20 to 25,000 tickets. Goes as complimentary passes. But then again, it is about distributing it to their various clubs. Here, they have a bigger excess baggage, in the sense that this Barabati Stadium is not owned by the Odisha Cricket Association. It's a government property, and OCA is the caretaker. So, from that point of view, they have a bigger compulsions, in the sense they need to hand them over to state associations, different clubs, districts, government institutions. That's why they cannot reduce the quota. Sanjay Behra, the OCA secretary, said we are planning a 600 crore project. It has been passed at our SGM. Uh, Hopefully, this year we will start the redevelopment of the stadium, and we want to extend the seating capacity to 60,000. But there are red tape stuff like that, so we don't know when it will start. But then again, they have a plan to redevelop the stadium, and this is one reason why they don't get ICC matches. 2023, they have never been the reckoning even, because the seating arrangement facilities there that don't conform to the ICC guidelines. Next year, when India will host the T20 World Cup, Barabati will miss out once again unless they give the stadium a facelift, because the stadium facilities don't conform to the ICC requirements. But this is because of this excess baggage, more excess baggage they have. That's why they have to reserve. Almost two-thirds of the city of the quota as complimentary passes.
Before I go to Atreo, I will go to Atreo. This Rohit Sharma thing about opting out from Champions Trophy is absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. We have been on this story from last evening at 6 p.m. or even earlier. Soon after I finished the 5 at 5, Shubhayan, myself, multiple other people, and a couple of other journalists also called. At this point, Rohit might well opt out. If he fails in the next two matches, he might decide to opt out. But we have been on this story from last evening till this second. Till this second on the Saturday, this is a false story. We have had discussions with multiple people on this within the management, with selectors, people in the know. There is nothing, I confirm, nothing on this from either. By the way, Ajit Agarkar is down with, he's not well. He was not there in Nagpur. He is not there in Cuttack, and Shomir can confirm that. He will be there in Ahmedabad. If there is a discussion, that might happen in Ahmedabad. If Rohit fails in this game and the next game, nothing is being ruled out. But the fact is, at this point on the Saturday, Rohit Sharma opting out from the Champions Trophy is not correct news. I was told first by two reliable sources that can you check? And this was yesterday. This was yesterday at 5. I got Shubhayan on the call, and I'm putting it on record. From around 6 7 p.m. we were on the story till about 10:30 11, when we got final confirmation from multiple sources that this is not a correct story at this point. After tomorrow, if he fails again, we don't know, and then if there is any further development, we will bring that to you. Atro, the point that Shomik is making, this is not new. This is not new that state associations have this kind of compulsion, but fans do feel cheated. 5 years no game, and all of a sudden 50,000 tickets to fans, 30,000 complimentary tickets. Atreo, is this fair? Mute. Mute.
If you look at it purely from the point of view of fans, it's not fair. But we have seen that in India, in several state associations, they follow their own rules when it comes to distribution of tickets. I mean, a lot of them, a lot of state associations, they provide free tickets to different, to different people. I mean, in the sense that it can be clubs in certain states, it can be government officials in certain states, it can be the district units in certain other states. So the ticket distribution system all over India is not uniform. All state associations follow their own rules. And I'm not very surprised that only one third of the tickets are going to the fans and the rest is complimentary. It is in an ideal world, no, but this is how it has been in India in many state associations for many years.
Show me quick answer before I let you go for the press conference. How is the excitement, and a word on Rohit Sharma? Because clearly, as this news is doing the rounds that Rohit might opt out, etc., etc., the pressure on Rohit is humongous. Another couple of failures and anything can happen. Show me.
Absolutely, another couple of failures, anything can happen. But I think, as Rohit also said, he will not. I mean, he will not carry the trickle down. He is not willing to carry the trickle down effect of his red ball form. He will see the failure in Nagpur as a case in isolation, because it's a different format, completely different format, and that's why he snapped back at Nagpur saying, "What kind of a question is this?" So, I mean, even in the last ODI series that India played before this in Sri Lanka, he was the only Indian batsman to score runs. He scored at a strike rate of 144. And when he batted on those Premadasa pitches, it felt like he was batting on a different surface. But now his confidence is at the lowest. It is clear. His reflexes, he is being affected by his flowing reflexes, everything. But then again, there is an outside chance. Uh, I mean, from a distance, I sent a picture of the Barabati Stadium pitch, and from a distance, from the press box balcony, it looked like a builder. So this may be his best opportunity yet to get back among runs. Because on this pitch, if he fails, then I don't know what is going to happen next. Pulling out of the Champions Trophy. As things stand, as you said, it's a completely knee-jerk reaction, and I think this is being circulated on social media. There is no meat to it, but at the same time, India cannot. I mean, if Rohit fails in the next two games, also he will be a passenger going to the Champions Trophy. Can India carry a passenger in an ICC event, in a marquee ICC event? That is the call that not only Rohit, but Ajit Agarkar and Gautam Gambhir will also have to take. But then again, we need to wait a bit. Let's see how things pan out tomorrow. Because on Barabati traditionally has been a high scoring venue. Let's see how he counters. Can he counter 90 miles per hour uh, bowler? Does he still have it in him? I think we'll get an answer tomorrow whether what lies ahead for Rohit Sharma.
Thanks, Shomik. I know the press conference is about to start very shortly, so I'll kind of let you go. 5:12. The time for the press conference, folks, is 5:15. So in another 3 minutes from now, provided it is on time, so we let Shomik go. He will file the report from the press conference straight after. So we will let you go there, Shomik. Devashish, coming to you. Coming to you before I go back to Atre on the Ranji Trophy. This whole point, two questions, Devashish. I'll ask the same of Bharat and Gargi. One, this match has become massively important because of Rohit Sharma. And secondly, this whole thing, you have covered cricket around the country. Fans being deprived is not new. Is not new. I mean, complimentary tickets, etc. We have seen this. But there has been, over the years, things have gotten better because, if you remember the 2011 World Cup final, 4,000 tickets were sold, rest were given as complimentary. And a lot of controversy happened. Devashish, then your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Atroda has touched on the point because every state association has their own rules. Here in CAB also means a lot of tickets goes to the government officials and the army because the Eden Gardens is not as is the case with Barabati Stadium. Eden Gardens is not owned by CAB; it has been leased. So I think a lot of tickets is earmarked for the army personals and also the bureaucrats and also there are plenty of tickets, the live members, honorary members, the annual members. So a bulk of the tickets is reserved reserved as complimentaries. So, yes, it's unfortunate, but then you have to go by it because it is different rules for different associations. So I think that won't change. That won't change. Because if you take the instance of CAB, because there's almost 7,000 to 8,000 that tickets that is for the members, and there are clubs as well. There are first division clubs, there are second division clubs, and all these clubs have quotas where they normally take tickets, and that includes prize tickets as well. So if the clubs they fail to dispose of the prize tickets, they either return it back to CAB but invariably they hardly return because they sell it off. So I think they think it's unfortunate for the fans, but you have to accept it, Puriada.
I think there's an internet issue. A lot of people are saying, so I'll quickly change the Wi-Fi. But before that, Atro, why don't you talk about Anshul Kamboj and the Ranji Trophy? You're at Eden Gardens. Anshul Kamboj, the first ball of the day. Bharat tweeted about it as well. Beautiful line. Mumbai down to 6 for 94. But thereafter, that partnership once again, Tanush Kotian doing the job for Mumbai as well as Shams Mulani. Complete recovery from there on. So sum it up, Atro, because it's very important. I mean, the Haryana versus Bengal, that match, while I quickly change computers and join you. Mute.
It was a fascinating day of cricket. Not a lot of people watched it, but those who did, they will remember this day. It was a very dramatic start to the day, as you pointed out, that a wicket of the first ball of the match, middle stump uprooted. Ayush Matre by Anshul Kamboj, who is the most happening bowler in India in the Ranji Trophy this season. And Anshul Kamboj and Sumit Kumar, the opening bowlers, bowled a very good opening spell. Bombay were 29 for 4. Then after the ball was doing a bit. There was a lot of assistance from the pitch. I mean, there was some seam movement of the pitch. It was a good wicket in general. When things dried out a bit, when the sun came beating down, batting became a lot more easier. But in the initial period, in the first hour and a half, the ball did a bit. It jagged around a bit. And these Haryana bowlers, there were four of them. Sumit and Anshul Kamboj were the main ones. And all of them maintained very good lengths. And they didn't give anything loose. In the first four wickets that fell, there was no false shot. I mean, the batsmen got out defending. One of them got out leaving the ball. So it was not as if there were rash shots or any rush of blood in that. It was pure and simple good bowling. And after that, at lunch, it was 101 for 6. And soon after lunch, it became 113 for 7. So it looks very, very grim for Bombay at that point in time. But as we have seen a number of times, I mean, quite a few times this season, almost throughout the last season, when Bombay won the tournament, won the title, their lower order staged a fight back. And what a fight back that was. Shams Mulani and Tanush Kotian, they played like established batters. It was not a batting that tail enders do. They looked very assured in the middle, and there was no playing and missing. They were middling the ball and showed a lot of patience, showed a lot of application, and they put together 165 runs for the eighth wicket. That is not something that you see every day in first class cricket. An eighth wicket partnership putting together 165 runs from 113 for 7. Mulani looked like he would get to his century, but right towards the end of the day, he fell for 91. And Tanush Kutian is still not out in the 80s and has played a beautiful innings. And we were discussing this at the lunch break, that Bombay would do well to survive the day, and they did. They would have been happier had Mulani not got out towards the end, but that's how it goes. Mulani has done his job. So now on, Bombay, I mean, from 113 for 7 to 278 for 8, it's a massive recovery. Anything above 300 is going to be a challenging total in any first class match in a decent kind of a wicket, which is not a pata wicket. And this is not a pata wicket. So anything around 300 will be quite challenging. It's a 5-day match where Haryana will be playing the fourth innings, and Bombay's spin department is quite able. Tanush Kotian and Mulani are very able spinners. So, these two have set the match up for Bombay. It's been, I mean, from that position, I would say that Bombay has ended the day on a stronger note compared to Haryana. And Anshul Kamboj was very incisive. I mean, he bowled long spell. He bowled, I think, some 18 or 19 overs he bowled, close to 20 overs. And he did not err in line and length. There was nothing loose from him. He's not very quick, but he has control over movement. He moved the ball both ways in the early stage of the day, and other bowlers were not as incisive, and that is probably one reason why Bombay got out of this. But we are in for a exciting match.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
A point about Anshul Kamboj, he's been incisive right through the Ranji Trophy. Do you reckon he has a future for India, possibly being able to move the ball both ways? England tour coming up, very good season overall. And also a word on Karun Nair, once again 100, extremely good season. Domestic cricket making it count. Will this matter in the long term, you reckon? Is there a possibility of Karun Nair coming back? I mean, domestic cricket, he has had the most extraordinary of seasons, Bharat.
Yes, Kamboj, I guess his greatest strength, as I noted before, even I've written a few pieces on him for F Sports, that he makes the batter play. From ball one, he makes the batter play. There's an old-fashioned virtue that has gone missing with a lot of bowlers in present times, but he's a very good line bowler. I don't think he does a great deal with the ball in terms of swing, but he will make the batter play from line one, from ball one. So he will hit top of off or just outside the off stump. So he's always there and thereabouts. That is, I think, is his greatest strength, and he can bowl long spells. Yeah, in the IPL, he was touching 138, 140 kilometers per hour. That's, I think, the quickest he can bowl. But in the Ranji Trophy, he has been down on pace. At least, I guess, about 7-8 miles. At least 7-8 miles per hour, he has been down on pace in the Vijay Hazare Trophy and the Ranji Trophy. it is perhaps imperative for him to get his pace back to at least 85 miles per hour, because he doesn't do a lot with the ball. So he's a very good line bowler, and he will make the batter play from ball one. Yes, Karun Nair, see, I think is someone it's great to see. As a Karnataka fan, it's great to see that Karun Nair has returned to form, obviously for another team, but as a Karnataka fan, it's great to see, because he's someone who's a very fluent shot maker. There's a lot of shots. He's someone who's a good timer of the ball. Yes, he has a small weakness with the nip packer, which obviously his former Karnataka teammate exposed again in the Vijay Hazare Trophy final. That's another matter. But yes, he's someone who looks good on the eye, and scoring a lot of runs. So who knows? He might come in the equation for the tour of England. As far as Kamboj is concerned, I guess is to get his pace back because if he's going to play in England against that baseball team, they will come very hard at him. So if he's going to ball 125, 128 kilometers per hour, then he might get smashed around. So he has to get his pace back to 85 miles per hour, which he was bowling in the IPL.
Gavi, the question now, let's kind of move focus to Rohit Sharma. This whole news that Rohit Sharma might opt out, all of a sudden this spread like wildfire yesterday. I was told from 3 different sources it was being spread. Let's not give the sources away. But all of this mounts pressure. And if he doesn't perform tomorrow and in the final match, automatically he will be confronted with this question, should there be another Sydney? What will this have in terms of impact on the dressing room? Will this have an adverse impact on the dressing room as well? So this match and the next one is all about Rohit Sharma. Who cares about the result? If India doesn't win doesn't matter. But if the captain doesn't perform in these 2 matches, anything can happen. Clearly, India will not want to take a passenger. Clearly, India will want to see its captain perform. Clearly, the pressure on Rohit Sharma. What does Rohit Sharma do with Rohit Sharma? Gargi Rao.
At this point, it's difficult to put your finger on what is going wrong for Rohit Sharma. Clearly, he's lacking confidence. Clearly, he looks abysmally out of touch. And it's just not the same Rohit Sharma that we saw in the 2023 ODI World Cup. It's just not. We have to be, honest about that fact. The issue is not the form. Form dips for everyone. Form comes back, goes away. It always happens. The problem is that Rohit Sharma has now looked out of touch for the past 3 to 4 months, for the past 3 or 4 series. And, it's concerning, and it hurts quite a bit to also say that your captain is the passenger, or to say something like, if you go into a Champions Trophy, Rohit Sharma doesn't perform in the next 2 matches and still continues being the captain of India. It hurts to say that he is actually the passenger. And if he weren't the captain, if he did not have the name Rohit Sharma, would he still have a place in the team? These are the questions that pop up in your head, and these are very harsh questions. But ultimately, it's team before any other individual, be it Rohit Sharma, be it Virat Kohli, be it Gautam Gambhir. Does not matter which star it is, which player it is team before individual. It is India before individual. So if going into these 2 ODIs, Rohit Sharma does not perform, there will be a harsh call to take. And, that's going to cause some shockwaves in the Indian cricket, let's say within the fans or in the dressing room, but it will be necessary. That's all.
Devashish, she spoke very well. She spoke very well. Individual obviously will never be as important as the team, however big a superstar you are. Suppose Rohit Sharma doesn't perform in the next 2 games. Do you think some drastic call will be taken, or do you think no, he will still travel to the Champions Trophy? He's your designated skipper. But next 2 matches. So 2-part question, Devashish. Is it more mental? Is it more mental now for Rohit Sharma in the white ball? Yes, Shomik said he will treat this as one failure and not a continuation of red ball. But how does he get back to scoring ways? Is it more mental that he sorts out the problem there, attack like the way he did in the World Cup, change his approach? How do you kind of see Rohit Sharma approach this, Devashish said? Perhaps it's now or never.
I think he should stick to the approach he has set a template for himself, means to go out there and play positively, and that has been his strength. Means to utilize the power play, the first 10 overs, and no, but because there won't be any close-in fielders. And if you look at the last innings he was in two minds whether to go out all out attack or whether to defend, because he was defending Archer. He was not trying to go out after Archer, but and suddenly when Shakib Mahmood arrived, he thought of taking that opportunity to flick him over the mid wicket bound to the boundary, but that wasn't the case. So I think he needs to have a clarity of thought whether to play aggressively right from the word board, and I think at this moment he should play the manner in which he has tested success, and that is to play aggressively and positively. See, you cannot clutter your minds with several thoughts and then miss out on letting even a loose ball to score a boundary, and that is what has happened on Rohit Sharma in his prime. That ball from Shakib Mahmood would have gone for boundary 9 out of 10 times. So I think, as Shomit also rightly said, that his approach, he needs to be clear on his approach, whether to go out all guns blazing right from the word bro. That has given him the success in white ball format.
After same similar question, I think again Devashish makes an important point about aggressive approach. By the way, a lot of questions about Virat versus Rohit. Hello, this is not about Virat versus Rohit. This is about Rohit. Virat was brilliant in the World Cup. Rohit was even more impactful, according to me, in the 2023 World Cup. I thought Rohit in the 2023 World Cup was India's best batter. Rohit in the 2004 T20 World Cup was India's best batter. After what could go wrong? Yes, we are saying slow reflexes. We are saying all of this. In 6 months, how can his game completely go away from him? In June, he played that 40 ball 90. He played that innings against England. He played wonderfully well, some of his best cricket. In 6 months, how is it that he can completely lose track of his game? And if there is a way to come back, what is it? Is it aggression? Athrev. Mute. Unmute yourself. Athrev, unmute yourself.
See, I think 6 months is a fairly long time in cricket or in sport in general. I think when you switch off for a while, it's and then you switch on after that. It's not as smooth. It's not as we think it should be. I think after the T20 World Cup, there was a lot of a lot of pressure went off the shoulder of Rohit Sharma and the Indian team. That for a long time, an ICC tournament had not been won by India. Rohit led India to one, and after that, I think there was a letdown in intensity. After that, he went to Sri Lanka and scored some runs in the ODI series. But since then, what has happened, we all know. I mean, he hardly scored against New Zealand and in Australia, and now has begun the ODI series against England with a low score. Now, I agree with Shomik that these are different formats. Yeah, I mean, Test cricket and one-day cricket are different formats. There is no doubt about it. At the same time, we can't overlook the fact that Rohit will know each time he goes out to bat, he will know that irrespective of the format, he hasn't scored in the last 8 or 10 innings. Most of them were single-digit innings. So that will play on his mind. I mean, it doesn't matter what format it is. I mean, had he scored runs in the Test series, either against New Zealand or against Australia, he would have carried that confidence into the ODI format. That works. The format is different, no doubt about that. And it's factually correct that it's basically one failure in one ODI match. But we can't overlook the poor outings in the Test series, in the last 2 Test series. So that will work on his mind, and one more each failure will increase the pressure on him, and he is going to be a man under tremendous pressure if he doesn't click in the last 2 ODIs. At least in one, I mean, at least in the second one, he needs some runs, because a captain can't go to a major tournament without anything under his belt. I mean, with hardly any runs under his belt. So that will be important. And as Gargi was saying, that a captain has to justify his place in the 11 first. He's not in the 11 because he is the captain. He is in the 11 because he's one of the 11 top players at that point in time. And what we see with Rohit now, that he is really struggling to get going. As far as approach is concerned, I think he's experienced enough. He knows how to go about it. And I have a feeling that he will try and hit his way out of trouble. That way, this Cuttack pitch and the Ahmedabad pitch should help that kind of an approach, because these are usually for ODIs and T20s and IPL matches in India. We see batting friendly wickets, and some of them are absolute batting beauties. So that's a good opportunity for Rohit to gain his confidence back. Although I won't say that 2 matches is too long a span to get everything back. So gradually, it's a gradual process which has to start in Cuttack tomorrow. If it doesn't happen,
Taking a
then
cue from that again, I mean,
the
all
player
of
under
my
most
colleagues
pressure
said
in the Champions League.
absolutely. I mean, he will be under most pressure in the Champions Trophy if he doesn't score in the next 2 games, Bharat. And that is what, I mean, Gargi said it beautifully. Devashish added to it. Atro added to it. When you see Rohit, a lot of people, I think Atro used the word mind, Devashish used the word mind, Gargi used the word mind. If you see, it's a cluttered mind, clearly cluttered mind, because that ball on his leg stump, on his feet, he could have just played it anywhere. All he did was lob it up because his mind is saying, muscle memory is saying something, mind is saying something. Is it a mental issue? Is it an issue of both? Should he consult a mental conditioning coach? How does he deal with this? Because if you lose the dressing room, if you lose the dressing room and they think that, oh, you know what, this guy is not in form, that's a massive blow for your self-esteem, and the dressing room might get divided like it happened in Australia. Bharat Ramraj.
Yeah, obviously it is issue of both. He's lost confidence. That is one thing for sure. So many low scores. It could be in another format, but if you go through such a bad patch, then obviously it will hurt your confidence. It's mentally definitely down. Yeah, he can definitely consult a mental conditioning coach. But see, when it comes to reflexes or when it comes to body slowing down, I'm not very sure. It's like 6 months ago he was this good, and why he's perhaps not this good after 6 months, because even former cricketers, whoever I've interviewed, just tell that it could be, say, in a couple of months' time, you could be little fraction slower. Even if you're a fraction slower at that particular level, when you're facing 90 miles per hour, it could lead to issues. You needn't be like too much slower. That happened even with Tendulkar. He was batting so well in the 2011 World Cup, and a few months later in England, suddenly he seemed to lost his way a bit. So all you need to be is a fraction slower. I guess that also is a problem for him. Maybe even he can look at some of the old articles that Martin Crowe had written on Tendulkar, that a batter needs to be on his toes a little more, tippy toes. That would give a little more time for a batsman who's coming to the fag end of his career. He had told this in relation to Sachin Tendulkar. Maybe Rohit Sharma can also use that to get that little more time on his hands. I guess that also is a factor. Seems to be a slightly slower playing.
Can you mute Atrio's this thing, please? I think he's at the Eden Garden, so there is that sound coming. Yeah, question to you, Gargi. I mean, Bharat is saying that it can happen, but in Rohit's case, with Jaiswal breathing down his neck, with Shubman Gill scored beautifully. Shreyash Iyer played beautifully. Now, who do you drop tomorrow? When Virat Kohli comes back into the side, that's another big headache. Who do you drop? And here is Rohit Sharma, who's not scoring. So on the one hand, suppose you drop Yashasvi Jaiswal and you get Virat Kohli in. Fair enough. You've got Virat Kohli in, you've dropped Jaiswal, you've pushed Shubman Gill up, Virat Kohli slots there, you solve your problem. Now you've dropped Jaiswal, you've dropped Rishabh Pant. Here is Rohit Sharma who's not scoring. How will that look a couple of games later, Gargi? And will that further add to Rohit Sharma's pressure? Because somebody of the caliber of Jaiswal and of the caliber of Rishabh Pant are sitting out.
Again, the word that Shomik very rightly used, the word passenger, that is Rohit Sharma passenger going into the Champions Trophy if he does not perform in the next couple of games. I think that's a very apt word for this situation here, because you're looking at two of the best young batters that India has produced when it comes to this generation, a Rishabh
One
Pant and a
second, Gargi, one
Yashasvi.
second. One
Yeah.
second. Sitanshu Kotak came to the press conference and has just said that Virat Kohli is fit. So that's the
Okay.
news we are getting from Cuttack. Shomik Chakraborty is at the press conference, and Sitanshu Kotak attended the press conference, still on, and he's just said Kohli is fit. Yes, Gargi.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying, that you have two of the best young batters from this generation that India has produced, Rishabh Pant and Yashasvi Jaiswal. How long can you keep them out of the team? How long can you justify them being on the bench when you have a captain or you have a Rohit Sharma that isn't performing? So that will not reflect well on the Indian management, not on the Indian team as well. It would raise some serious questions when it comes to selections, when it comes to politics or this and that, whatever you want to call it. Wrong, let's not say wrong, but negative questions will be raised, which is something you never want. You don't want another Sydney. So honestly, the next two games, my hopes are completely on Rohit Sharma to come back. It doesn't seem very likely to me personally, because it doesn't seem like Rohit Sharma is in the right headspace. But of course, you want your captain to come back, and he has shown us what he can do in ODI. So my fingers are crossed that he makes a comeback, but it just doesn't seem too positive for me.
Devajit Sen, she says it doesn't seem positive. Yes, the odds are stacked against him, but perhaps his last two chances, if Virat is fit, obviously, in this case, perhaps Jaiswal will sit out and Virat will slot in with Shreyas scoring. Rishabh sitting out. The pressure will also be on Virat as well, Devashish, because you have quality batters in. Suppose you drop Shreyas in this form, people will say, "What on earth is going on?" You already have Rishabh Pant on the bench, a real quality batter. The pressure will be on these two, Rohit and Virat. Virat will not just be able to play on the basis of what he has done in the last few years. At this point in time, too much quality sitting out on the bench, Devashish said.
Absolutely, and especially you leave out someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal who you pick in the ODI squad, and for fortunately or unfortunately he did not capitalize on the opportunity he got in the first ODI, getting out to 15 runs. But had he scored a big knock, then would you have taken and would you have arrested him? Means obviously that's a question that needs to be asked, and the same applies to Shreyas Iyer as well. I was just listening to the Hindi live an hour back, and obviously he was not even discussed in the 15. That is what Shubman and Rohit were discussing. And this is strange, and he was not even in the initial thought process to pick in the 11th. But then with that knock, what he does is that immediately puts pressure on Virat Kohli to score. Means these are your two stalwarts. Someone who has scored 14,000, almost 13,900 runs at an average of 58, and Rohit Sharma having scored 11,000 runs at an average of almost 50. So how and I totally agree with Shomita where he said that it's a completely different format. Means obviously they need, and the best part of it that they know how to get away from adverse conditions. Yes, Rohit Sharma has been a failure in recent times, and but all those failures are mostly in longer format. Means it, and when it comes to one day cricket, both Virat and Rohit has done nothing wrong. It's just the mental block. Both need to be, especially for Rohit, since he's the captain. He needs to have a clarity of mind, because there are youngsters who are waiting in the wings, and they will and it is better for the captain to go out there and play. It's nothing wrong if he fails scoring a 30 odd of 10 balls, but if he goes out there and play defensively for 20 balls, score a 5 runs and get out, that will put immense pressure on the middle order. So it's better off for Rohit to go out there and play the way he has done so over the years successfully.
Atro, do you think Shreyas has done enough? Because clearly Rohit and Virat are the two people under pressure at the moment. Shubman has scored, Shreyas has scored. Has he done enough to now not be benched? Has he kind of put his case forward very strongly? Whether it is in terms of his domestic record, the way he's come back, his international record, his 23 World Cup record, and also do you think he has been kind of unfairly targeted, missing out one domestic game and being deeper, dropped off the central contract? Obviously asked questions of his attitudinal problem. Do you think Shreyas has been kind of unfairly targeted, Atra? Mute.
For Malai, which he was. Yeah, I think it was unfair to an extent, because he was penalized for something for which he was not the only person responsible. Lot of players do that. A lot of players neglect domestic cricket. He was not the only one who did that. But anyway, I mean, On the positive on a positive note for him, he learned his lessons. He went back to domestic cricket. He scored runs, and they came back to the Indian team in the most transparent manner possible. And I was very surprised to know that he was not part of the 11 initially, and because whenever given a chance in one-day cricket in these conditions, he has been a successful batter, and the manner he bats in takes the game away from the opposition. He can if he's around for 50 balls, he can decide the fate of the match. So I don't know why that aspect was ignored, and luckily for him, when he got this chance, he grabbed it with both hands. Now there is no chance of dropping him, at least in this series, for two reasons. One is if you bring in Jaiswal, then where does Jaiswal bat? Number three. In that case, you dislodge Kohli. And if Jaiswal bats at number four, then that's a position where he has never batted in. So leaving out Shreyas Iyer defied logic, according to me, and not just in terms of team combination or batting dynamics, in terms of sheer performance and in terms of sheer potential also. He can be a destructive player. We have seen that a number of times, and luckily for him, that innings happened that day in the first ODI. And after that, I don't see him move from number four, at least in the immediate future.
Shaggy, I'll close with you. I'll close with you with the final question that in the next two games, India are seeking enough number of answers. One to the captain, two to the batting order, three obviously on Shreyas Iyer. Four, what do you do with Rishabh Pant? Do you continue to bench him going forward? Five, clearly, are you going to play Varun Chakravarti? So two, perhaps the most important games, all of a sudden have been given enormous amount of context. So that is something that is sort of making these two games hugely important, Gargi, in Cuttack and in Ahmedabad.
I would add another point to it. Mohammad Shami, how is he holding up? That is also something we have to see, going into the Champions Trophy. But you're right. This series otherwise would have been completely meaningless when it comes to, it doesn't really hold any importance. But now that we're looking at a Champions Trophy, we're testing out the playing 11. We're talking about so many incredible talent that's many of them are going to be on the bench, but it's an important discussion to have, or these are very, very important questions that need answering. What happens with Yashasvi Jaiswal? Who's opening? What if Rohit Sharma doesn't perform? Who do you use as a wicket keeping batter? Is it going to be Rishabh Pant? Is it going to be KL Rahul? So many combinations to test out, and I'm especially concerned about whether or not Varun Chakravarti will be added to the squad, because otherwise, what was the point of bringing him to this series? So that is another thing that I'm looking forward to watching. But this is an incredibly important two games that we have ahead of us.
And if Varun replaces Kuldeep, who's just come back from an injury, you've given him one game. He's not done anything bad. Who does Varun replace? Do you replace Jadeja, 3 wickets? Do you replace Aksar, 50 plus runs? So clearly, these two games, the team management will have to be very, very smart in terms of selection, because they need clarity. They need clarity going into the Champions Trophy, and the clarity has to come, as all my guests, Bharat, Devashish, Gargi, Atreya, and of course Shomik said, has to come from the top with Rohit Sharma. A lot of people commenting. Thank you very much for joining us. We will keep updating. Shomik is at the press conference. Watch out for his report straight after the press conference is over. He will give us all the updates from Cuttack. Naman Suri will be at the Cricket Club of India, where the 125 WTA matches are happening. Maya is playing at 6:30 local time against the fifth seed, the Canadian girl, fifth seed Canadian girl. It has been an extraordinary run for Maya, coming with a wild card and doing what she has. Is she the next Sania Mirza? People have already started to ask. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but back the young girl to make history as she is doing. So Naman Suri will report on that. And Atreo, as you know, is at the Eden Gardens for the Ranji Trophy. Plenty of ground reports coming. For the moment, that's all we have. Bharat, Devashish, Atreo, Gargi, and everyone watching. Thank you very much for joining us.